Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! Yes. In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode,
Nicholas Jackson is the third fastest Chelsea player to reach 20 Premier League non-penalty goals. Only Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Diego Costa did it quicker. Oh, welcome back everyone to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in a virtual room filled with all the lions that didn't understand my share joke, but that don't matter. It doesn't matter. That was pre-show. It's now the actual show. Ollie, Berth, and Chris is back.
Full house.
I thought you said who else? No one else. No one else is here yet. We haven't got a fifth member. But I need to ask you, what were your moments from the weekend?
My favourite moment of the past 3 days is when Chris called me an absolute clown off air about 5 minutes ago.
Oh no!
But other than that, my Sunday league team.
My moment of the weekend.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Appreciate your support. My favourite moment of the weekend is us, my Sunday league team, winning 10-0 yesterday.
Wow,
good result. Turned into
hell.
prime Shevva yesterday as well. I did. I was pretty good at midfield. So yeah, that's my highlight.
Not too shabby, Beth.
I mean,
Not too shabby indeed.
That's bloody impressive. That is. Wow. What about you, Chris?
Been ill all weekend, so I haven't got one. Is the honest truth. From sort of Saturday morning to now, it's been an absolute shit show. To be fair, the Chelsea game really cheered me up, which could have gone the other way. Like, honestly, if that game hadn't gone our way yesterday,
You would have
been
just
absolutely fuming.
Sad.
Yeah. Honestly, it probably would have been up there with one of the worst weekends of my life. So at least Chelsea didn't let me down for once.
Yeah. I said I was going to go on my mental health walk this weekend. That's what I did. It was begrudgingly helpful.
That's good.
The walk is always helpful for the mind.
Yeah, I love a walk.
It's so annoying though. It always strikes me so stupid. Like you're like, well, how can just like walking around help you? And it does.
It does. Yeah, it does.
It just works. It's so simple. It's annoying.
My highlight is surprisingly it happened about 2 hours ago, and that was that Sevilla tweeted that their admin, and this is an actual tweet from the official Sevilla account, saying that their admin will not travel to Paris as the admin has been told that they will not win the Ballon d'Or.
Wow.
I love the shade they've just thrown around. I just love that. It's so fucking pathetically petty, but it's brilliant at the same time.
They should have said the same thing to Rob Sanchez, to be fair.
Oh, did he get nominated for the Ballon d'Or?
Well, do you know what? The problem with Sanchez with the Ballon d'Or is obviously the trophy is ball-shaped, so he would have dropped it.
Yeah, and you have to be a proper footballer. And still doubts, sir. Still doubts. But one thing I will not doubt is our listeners, because before we dive into the news, it's time for one. I haven't got one. I've got two. I've got more than two, actually. Shevva shoutouts. It seems that the Friday show caused a trend on Spotify because we had 4 Shevva shout-out-worthy posts on Spotify over the weekend. And I will go first. We got Frost. Spotify algorithm brought your podcast to me earlier this year. I've enjoyed every episode since then. Keep up the good work, guys. Victor from Nigeria. I was like, wow. Another Nigeria listener. I was like, yes, come on. I love that. GK said, waiting for my own shout out, guys. Nigerian in Russia. Been listening since the Potter era. Pod's become my way of healing. Yeah, we're really, really popular with Nigerian people in Nigeria. I was like, this is awesome. I love this. We've got Sinra, who said, hey, big up to the team. Love the show. Has been listening for 4 years now. The show is highlight in my week listening while working and doing chores. I'm listening from Norway. Love the dynamic of the team with Mikey, Chris, and Ollie. You make me laugh every time I listen. It makes me smile. Keep up the amazing work you do and up the Chelsea. And finally, Brian said, "Hello, guys. I'm listening from Loreto, Mexico, and I listen to every show. You guys rock up the Chelsea." I just still, it's all these different places around the world that people listen. I'm just like, I love it. It's so cool.
I still find that so mad that there's people in so many different countries listening to us just twaddle on about stuff.
Also, Chris, I don't know what word you've just said then, but I'm pretty sure twaddle isn't a word.
I've made it up.
Yeah,
I'm an inventor, mate.
All words are made up words when you think about it.
Oh my word! Oh,
yeah. Thank you, Frost Victor.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Don't ever think we don't appreciate every single comment, because it is, as you can tell, we're like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, look at this one. This is awesome. It's awesome. It really is. Right.
Yeah. And to be fair, when I go into work tomorrow, I'll be telling people that people listen to me from Nigeria,
it's
Mexico,
so cool.
Norway,
wow.
all these places. It's amazing.
No
to
one
hear.
in your own house listens to you.
Sadly, no. Sadly, no.
Quick news. We had a little bit of a small bombshell drop of news after we finished recording on Friday night. Well, I say small bombshell. I say news. I think it was Saturday-ish, I think. And it was that Enzo Maresca has urged Reece James to show more leadership as Chelsea's captain. And he added that he believes his squad lacks a proper leader. So the actual comment was, I spoke with him. I expected more from him in terms of leadership inside the change room and for different kinds of things. So he's on the way. He's doing well. He's progressing. But from Reece, I expected more also in terms of leadership. And apparently this is how Reece reacted, according to Enzo. Good. That's why I said he's on the way. He understands that we expected more from him. He's one of our guys from the academy, but this is one of the reasons why he has to show more in terms of personality. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, he did all right Sunday, so...
I like it. I really like it. I think we all probably agree with it as well. And I think one of the reasons why we actually all have warmed to Maresca is that he doesn't mince his words. He's straight to the point. He's almost ruthless in how he says things, and I think it's a fair assessment. I think Sunday proved that Reece is clearly listening to him, and yeah, I like those comments. And I don't think you can really disagree with them either. So, yeah.
I'm actually with you, Berth. I think some people are saying, like, is it necessary for everything to be out there so publicly like this? But I actually quite like that Maresca's willing to tackle this sort of thing head on. And I appreciate as well him knowing his player well in that regard. Like, we know Reece is a big boy, and I actually said at the time that he would likely be more motivated by those comments than disheartened by them. And then we got the performance of his at the weekend. So, clearly he's doing something that's working, and I'm pleased, because I actually feel like, and we'll get into Reece James when we talk about winners and losers for sure. But I felt that was the first captain's performance I've seen from Reece since he's become captain. So it doesn't feel like a coincidence.
What about you, Chris? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the lads. I actually like it. And I'm with Beth. I think those sort of things are making me warm to Maresca more. The fact that he's not scared to upset these players. And I think you do need that from the manager. I also think it shows that he must be very comfortable in his own sort of position and the security of his position, that he's, the comments about Reece James, the fact that he's seemingly dropped Enzo Fernandez because the balance in midfield wasn't right, seems to be showing that he's obviously feels as though he's got the backing of the board, so he can run it a bit better. And I think we've all said about Reece James in the past that he's not a natural leader. And I think you do need the manager to push that sometimes and let these players know when they're dropping below the standards expected. And I think it's really, really clever of him to do it early so it doesn't become a problem. I think we've seen at clubs like Man United where if you let the standards drop, they're very hard to get back again. And I think he was just trying to nip it in the bud early, and it's worked because that performance from James on Sunday was exactly what you'd want from a leader. So it's obviously had the desired effect.
Yeah, I just love the fact that Maresca just does not care what he says. He just says stuff, and it's like, Oh, cool. Like, I don't know if I think it was yesterday. I think it was the post-game conference. He's asked about obviously Chelsea have been fined because of ill discipline yet again, 115 grand. He just goes, I'm not going to pay it. It's not my problem. I just love it. It's like, this is like Mourinho again. It's just that sort of personality where it's just like, yeah, cool. I mean, this could become a meme. I don't care. He's awesome. Yeah, I mean, 100%. You know, Reece James is a captain. He needs to lead by example. He seems to be doing all right. You know, he's getting that fitness back. That's what's important. You know, he is on his day. We'll get in touch with that, but he is world class on his day when he's fit. And that is a big if when he's fit. So on that topic, we're going to move to winners and losers because I'm just searching for the clip because I'm really professional. Because what happened? Well, we welcomed Newcastle to Stamford Bridge. Cole Palmer with a top-class ball onto Neto. His pace carries him past Share. Into Jackson. Oh, it's beautiful. It is flawless. And the move, it started way back with Palmer, who is showing game by game why he is the best player in this league. That was the pre-assist of the season with the voice crack of the season.
Was that Martin Tyler?
When I recorded it and I realised my voice, as I'm keeping that in. Chelsea 2, Newcastle 1. We kick off with the winners as always. Who have you got? How many have you got?
I've got 3 and 3.
I've got 3 and 3 as well.
Chris, don't let me down.
I've got 4 and 3.
Fucking hell.
Fucking clown. Don't we start
no.
on this
Do you know what?
kid, right, taking liberties on this podcast. I introduce him to this and he goes and does this to me.
And you know what?
Snake.
I knew. Do you know? I knew Berth would be the one who would take real offence with this, but I think it'd be worse if I had 4 losers. I've got 4 winners.
Yeah, I don't care what you've got, Chris. It's 3 and 3. They're the rules.
Well,
at the moment, what he's got is the stomach
who
flu.
made these rules? Who made these rules? So I'm
Who
not
made this
following
podcast, Chris? Me and Mikey. So shut up.
doing my own thing.
Right, quickly, but look, I'm going to go with my first winner because what was that, Ollie? I was talking over you. Huh?
No, I was saying we've got a revolution going on at the moment.
Right, well, because I've got Reece James. I've got Reece James, my first winner, because on Sunday afternoon, Reece, I can't believe this happened, but he left the Last Chance Saloon, and I was wondering, where's he going? He only went and walked right into the Stat Drop Club. 87% passing accuracy, 4 accurate long balls, 3 interceptions, 3 goal line clearances, 5 or 6 jaws won, 2 blocks, first full 90 minutes in 558 days. Welcome back, Captain, my captain.
I really wasn't expecting that. It really caught me off guard.
I mean, what? Come on. What a performance. I mean, we all know. I said it just minutes ago. We all know what a top-class player he is when fully fit. Easily on form, the best right back in the world. And that ain't no overreaction, I tell you. Sorry, Trent. Sorry, Kyle. But because oh my word, what a player.
Turns out he's a pretty good left back as well.
I know.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a bit of not a hot take necessarily, but maybe a bit of a, I don't know what you class it as. I actually can see.
You think?
Maybe it's kind of on the border of everything. I think Reece James actually could potentially be our starting left back now, and Gusto be our starting right back for the season.
Chilwell,
if they stay
screwed.
Fit. Because I say this, Reece James is perfect in that inverted role, and you could argue he's probably better than Cucurella as a footballer. He is a better footballer than him. And I just think Gusto's fantastic at bowing up and down like he did against Newcastle on Sunday. He's fantastic, getting up and down. Didn't have to invert. Reece James did all that. Didn't look out of place. Was unbelievable.
Yeah, but
so just thinking, if he gets injured, fair enough. But going forward, if he stays fit, I can honestly see him playing left back.
I'm sorry, you got to have Cucurella there. You have to.
I think the best combos. It's harsh on Gusto because he's been good, but I think the best combo is Cucurella James.
I think so.
Because they both can invert.
He played that left back hybrid role flawlessly. He balled out. He was incredible, I must say.
He was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Berth.
Yeah.
Over Cuckoo. Oh
yeah, but
look,
I love Cucurella, but I think let's say live in a fantasy world and say Reece James stays fit and plays the rest of the games this season. I think you have to get Gusto in the team because I think his potential's higher.
Agreed. Agreed.
So the only way to get them both in the team is to play Reece James as a left back. And although that means dropping Cucurella out, I think long term you get more out of Gusto than you do out of Cucurella.
Agreed.
There's
I do
also
agree,
something
Chris.
to be said though about does Cucurella doesn't necessarily have to play over Gusto or James. He can play over Fofana, with James playing where Fofana would usually play.
I mean,
I won't play Reece James there.
I mean,
So you play him
it's
at
a great-
effectively left centre back, but not right centre back.
it's a great problem to have.
It is, yeah, it is. But yeah,
I've got to say that one thing I noticed Reece James is very good at is he really is good with controlling the ball with his chest. He's really good at that. I mean, he brings down like the most awkward of passes with just like he has the control of an astronaut performing a spacewalk. It's just flawless with it. It's so good. And the fact that he played, I mean, how about that for a stat? His first full 90 minutes in 558 days. Do you know what game he last completed 90 minutes in? I mean,
No,
the
I don't actually.
558 days is kind of a clue. The semi-final against Real Madrid.
Wow,
Wow.
I
really?
know.
That's
That's so long ago.
Is that the game we watched as well together?
No, because I think, 558 days was 2 years ago. So that would have been what, 2022? Oh, yeah, it would have been.
Yeah, it would have been then, yeah.
Wow. Who'd have thought that?
Wow, Jesus Christ.
That's really bad.
I thought it was a really good performance though from James overall. Like
Yeah.
what I was getting at when I said about a captain's performance, he really led by example. Like he was working hard for the team. He was putting himself out in a position that he doesn't usually play in. So he's contributing something to the team there. He had a good, solid performance all round. He was he didn't make any mistakes. And then on top of that, he bailed us out 3 separate times. He had 2 goal line clearances and a header near the end where like he saved us from Newcastle from pegging one back. Without Reece James, we do not win that game. And that is a
100%.
captain's performance.
Sorry, quarter-final, not semi-final. We weren't in. That was the year. That was the year we won it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, what a performance. That's all I can say. Did we all have him as a winner then?
He was on
I had Reece James. Yeah, I had Reece James.
You know what? Chris seems to have 4 winners, so he's already had Reece James. Who's your first proper winner, Chris?
Nicholas Jackson.
Top player.
I don't know what more to say about him. I think if he continues on this current form, I think he'd be the best all-round number 9 in the league. I think his all-round game is better than Erling Haaland's. Haaland is the elite finisher in the league. If you said to someone, you want someone to finish one chance, you'd choose Haaland. But I think Jackson's all-round game, the way he can take the ball on the turn and create a nothing position into suddenly a 4-on-3 overload attack. I don't think there's many centre forwards in the league who can do that. His ball for Palmer's disallowed offside goal was outstanding. His all-round play is really good. I think he's getting more intelligent in his play as well, the positions that he's taking up. His link up with Palmer, I think those two are probably the best duo in the league at the moment. I don't know what more people could want to see from Jackson to start admitting that there is no doubt, unless he has a massive drop off in form, that he could be our centre forward for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's so good.
Absolutely. He's class for sure. Do you know what? One thing he did during the game a lot, which I was really impressed by, is he received the ball sort of in midfield with his back to goal, and he would just find the space, turn and burn, and just go and turn defense into attack like that. Like we haven't had a striker like that in quite a while. It's almost a little bit kind of shades of Diego Costa, a little bit in terms of like the way he kind of like runs defenders ragged like that and uses his physicality. Yeah, really impressed.
I mean, he's the quickest to 20 Premier League non-penalty goals, and he's the 3rd quickest. And the only players that did it quicker than him were Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank and Diego Costa. So he's in good company.
You know what? Just to elaborate on Ollie's point, and Chris's to a certain extent, he's unbelievable with his back to goal, and I don't think he gets enough credit for it. The fact that he just rolls people left, right, and centre, is incredibly hard to do. It looks easy, but not many strikers in the league can do that. Ollie Watkins certainly can't do that. Haaland can to some extent, but he's actually not great on the ball. But I don't think there's any other striker in the league that can do what Nicholas Jackson does, and Kai Havertz certainly can't.
I think before the season started, people would say Isak, but Isak has quite literally a third of the goal contributions.
I think Isak is better at getting in behind. And whilst I think Jackson is as well, I think Isak is more of a sort of in behind the defender. But the fact that Jackson is doing that against a Dan Burn and a Fabian Schär, who are very, very physical, they're not easy to roll. Especially Dan Burn, who's like 6'7". Yes, he's not the quickest, but he's very physical. And the fact he just made him look like he was a Sunday League defender yesterday is a real testament to Nicholas Jackson. I don't think there's an argument now to say that he's got to be in the top 3 strikers in the league at the moment. He has to be. I don't see who else is above him. Watkins, Haaland, maybe.
The other day, actually, like go beyond the league for a minute. Is Jackson in the say top 7 strikers in the world? I think he could be.
I think the number 9
who's going to be above him. Haaland, obviously. Lewandowski, probably. After that, it's a bit more.
Kane's up.
Yeah, Kane's above him. Maybe Guirassy.
Gyökeres?
Yeah, Gyökeres, yeah.
Gyökeres, maybe. That's 5, right? But after that, you're getting pretty contentious. There's not many more where you could make an argument either way. So he's clearly up there.
What about Ronaldo?
No, he's shit.
He's gone.
Not my guy.
I'm trying to think of player. Victor Boniface comes to mind.
No, he's not bad.
Someone's really vocal in the back. I can hear an Arsenal fan going,
"No, I'll tell you what. Someone is 100% saying Victor Osimhen right now." And look,
he's not bad.
I would much rather Nicholas Jackson than Osimhen. I think he gives you more.
Right, Berth. Who's your second winner?
Well, I've said Reece James. I didn't pick Nicholas Jackson just because I knew someone else would. I have to pick Cole Palmer as a winner.
Yeah, he's on mine as well.
Because at the minute, I genuinely don't think there's a better player in this world than Cole Palmer.
Well, apparently the Ballon d'Or list, apparently there's 24 better than him.
There absolutely is not 24 better players than Cole Palmer on this world at the minute.
That's what they said.
The pass to Pedro Neto, no one on this planet can do that. There's literally no one on the planet can do that.
It gave me Ozil vibes, for sure.
Phil Foden can't do it. Saka can't do it. And I really like those 2 players, don't get me wrong. But that is ridiculous. And then the goal is outrageous. The touches. I'm running out of words to describe this boy. He is literally our next Eden Hazard. If he keeps going, he's going to be better than Hazard. He is ridiculous. I don't know what else to say about him, but at the minute he's the best player in the league, and I don't think that's debatable.
Gosh, yeah. I mean, he could have bagged a brace if it wasn't for the offside, but to be just look at that in itself. To be switched on that he scored within 2 minutes. He did it twice. He scored twice in 2 minutes in the first 2 minutes of in the half from kickoff. Yeah. You know, I mean, the guy was making passes out there that would have made Tom Brady blush. I mean, the accuracy was pinpoint. It was even pure boldness to even try him, and. Yeah, you know what? He's already top class. He has no fear, and his ceiling, it just keeps getting higher and higher like Snoop Dogg on a Saturday night. I'm telling you, best player in the Premier League right now. I do not see Haaland better than him. Right now, Palmer, easy for me. Easy.
I think he's the best player in the world at the moment.
On form,
On form, you can't really give it to anyone else. I mean, Haaland maybe, but maybe someone like Lamine Yamal maybe, but I think Palmer's at the moment is streets ahead of both of them because Barca and City are both better sides than we are at the moment in terms
That's
of
the thing, Pete. Yeah. So, look at how he raises everybody up. He is the sea, and he's raising all of us up. Whilst if he was at Real Madrid, would he just be another boat in the harbour? That's the thing. What do you think?
You know, look, I sorry to interrupt. I just don't think he would be because I think this kid just don't feel any pressure at all. It's crazy. He scored in the Euro. He scored in pretty much every final he's ever played in. Scored in the Community Shield, the Super Cup, the Euros. I don't see what can be done to phase this kid, and that's such a big asset to have.
I was trying to think about players who I thought like matched Palmer's play style, and I realised actually that even in thinking back as far as I could remember, I can't think of one player alone who matches exactly how Cole Palmer
You know,
plays.
agreed.
He passes like Ozil, his touch is like Bergkamp, and he finishes like Aguero. Right, like when you put all those when you put it in that kind of perspective, you go, "Oh yeah, he is pretty good, isn't he?" We're already talking about him in terms of Premier League greats already.
Yeah.
You know, like he's had one season under his belt, and he's been nominated for the Ballon d'Or, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'd love to know who nominated, because he got one vote, I think, from what I saw, for finishing in 20. I'd love to know who voted for him. I think we find out tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, it'd be good to know.
I think the thing is with Palmer as well, I think his attitude is very Hazard-esque. Like, he's so relaxed that nothing phases him at all. Doesn't matter. He would play a World Cup final the same way he would approach a training session. It makes no difference to him.
Or kick him out of the park. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any difference. And when you go back through history, truly great players who go on and be truly great, are those players, the ones who football is the same for them, regardless of whether it's in the back garden with their kids or on the biggest stage possible. Like, you know, the story of Andrea Pirlo spending the night before the World Cup final playing FIFA.
Yeah.
Not asked.
Yeah.
Like, you know, those sort of players. And Palmer has that. And I'm telling you now, the thing that really annoys me about when you have players like Palmer is people take into account what the team's doing, which I don't think should come into it at all when you're talking about individual awards. To do what he did last season in the Premier League, which is renowned as the hardest league in the world, for a dysfunctional team, under a manager he's never worked under before, to finish 25th
senior season.
Yeah, and to only get 25th in that Ballon d'Or list is a joke, because he should have been much higher than that.
I wouldn't have put him any lower than 15th.
But he wouldn't be, because we as a team didn't do anything. I'm telling you right now, you'd give him that exact same season. You swap the players over, and he has the season he had for us at Man City, and Foden has the same season that he had at Man City for us. There is no way Foden finishes above Cole Palmer in that Ballon d'Or list. 100%. Not a chance.
I guess
they do use team attributes as a contributing factor.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And it's stupid because it's an individual award.
Yeah, the Pirlo thing makes me just bring up the story again when Eden Hazard got absolutely wasted on the night before his final game for Lille, and he didn't sleep. He was still hungover, and he scored a hat trick. It's just like, cool. That's awesome, isn't it?
The best players just do it regardless, don't they? And do you know one thing specifically about this performance against Newcastle that I really liked from Palmer is that even though he wasn't like banging in a hat trick or 4 goals or whatever like he'd done before, he was really running stuff. Like he was involved. Like you could everything that we did that was good, more or less, at some point went through him. And it was really nice to see, because it was, in my opinion, it's one of the best games he's ever played for us. And
you know what?
Only having scored 1 goal that counted, that's a ridiculous performance.
That his pass as well, I actually don't think he's getting the credit that it would have got if it was someone else. Like that pass.
I agree. If De Bruyne makes that pass, nobody shuts up about it.
That's what I was about to say. That
Yeah.
pass is as good a pass as any pass Kevin De Bruyne has ever played. And no one is speaking about it today. It's like they spoke about it a little bit after the game, and then it was like, right, okay, that's the end of that now. And again, it's all this perception because of who he plays for. And the only thing that worries me about that is if he wants to go and win stuff and we don't get back to the levels that we used to be at, that'll be the thing that'll drive him out of the club. And
Well,
I think
mean,
that's
with him at the wheel.
That's
though,
where
like,
it's wrong.
That's more likely than ever. Than ever since like Clear Lake have come in, since he's now with us.
I agree, but I think when you've got a player as special as Palmer, like we have got now, you have to give him the foundations to go and win stuff, because that's what we did with Hazard. We have him who can win stuff by himself, but he needed the foundation in the team as well to go and actually do it. Like we looked at Hazard and we went, well, he's a player who should be winning the league. So we'll give him a Fabregas and a Costa and say, go and win us the league. And he did. We give him a David Luiz and a Gary Cahill at the back, a Petr Cech, go and win us the league. And he does. That's what we've got to give Palmer. Over the next 2 years, we have got to give Palmer the foundation to win the league. Otherwise, he will leave.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right, my final winner, because I thought them could go through all yours. I've got stats. Because none of these were worthy of a spot in the Stat Drop Club, but I felt that they deserved at least a shout out. So Romeo Lavia registered 100% on his successful long balls, 4 of 4. He registered more successful final third passes, 10, than any other player for either Chelsea or Newcastle inside just 72 minutes that he was on the pitch. Reece James, obviously, we said earlier, first full 90 for the club since the 18th of April 23, 558 days. Pedro Neto registered more chance creations, 3, and more successful take-ons, 3 of 5 than any other Chelsea player. Really impressive performance of the individuals really stood out, and it was a real team contribution. It was awesome. I mean, those stats are just they're pretty damn good. So, Chris, who's your final 2 winners?
No, well, I had Palmer as well, so I've only got one left.
What?
Pedro Neto.
He was my final winner, to be fair.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Really good, yeah.
I was critical of his end product a couple of games ago, but his end product in this game was there. I thought he was unlucky with the header as well that hit the post. The intelligence for the goal that he did make for Jackson is something that looks really simple, but we have seen so many players in our team fuck that up over the past few years. Just very basic things that you think they shouldn't get wrong. And he didn't, like the little touch past Fabian Schär to leave him on the floor.
Oh, lovely.
And then the perfect way to pass out in front of Jackson so he doesn't have to break stride, so he can just come on and strike it. It's all things that look very easy, but we've seen attackers in our team get it wrong more often than not over the past sort of 5 years.
Made it look easy. But
that's it. Yeah, that's it. And I just thought his all-round game, he was always very positive when he got the ball, wanting to take the player on, wanting to try and make something happen. Thought it was comfortably his best game in a Chelsea shirt so far.
Oh, 100%. Why was he a winner for yourself, Berth?
I mean, I thought, like I said, he was fantastic against Liverpool when he came on. I know Chris was obviously moaning about his end product, but I thought, like Chris said, he was fantastic on Sunday. The intelligence and the pure pace. I mean, that's getting overlooked as well. The pace that he had was electric. I don't think any defender would have caught with him, to be honest with you. And Livramento, to be fair, did give him a good go, but he kept trying to beat him, beat him, and his end product was there. And I think in the past, like Chris alluded to, we've had wingers and strikers and such that have got past their man, and then they've got into that opportunity to pass across the box, like a Timo Werner, for instance, and they've misjudged the pass, or they've hit out of play, or they've took a shot instead. And Neto's a very intelligent player, and as soon as he bought him from Wolves, I thought that's a great buy. And as long as he keeps fit, I think it's going to be a great buy for us. And I think he has to start now over Sancho. And I do like Sancho, but I think for me, Neto's way harder to defend against because of that pace. I think on the ball as well, I think he's actually very, very good. He rarely loses the ball. His passes is crisp. His crossing's fantastic. And he's got a finish on him as well. And yeah, I just thought, again, like against Liverpool, I just thought he was unplayable at times. So yeah,
it was the right call from Maresca as well to play him instead of Sanchez.
100%.
You know, and that's quite a big call to make. You know, that left wing spot at the moment is pretty open still. You know, any one of Mudryk and Sancho or Neto has a good game, and people are calling for them to be the starter. And for Maresca to then pick Neto, and for Neto to have the performance he did, you know, is very vindicating, I imagine, for him.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So we how many winners have we all got left?
I've got one left.
You got one. Berth,
I've got zero.
Yours? I've got zero,
yeah.
Well, so your final winner, Ollie.
Yeah, final winner from me is narratives. Because heading into this game against Newcastle, we really had the opportunity to kind of like shape the way that our season has been perceived so far. You know, We had a lot of good games. We had a lot of good performances, but against the big teams so far, against City and against Liverpool, we didn't really lay a glove on either of them. Not enough. And Newcastle then were the biggest test for us so far in sort of proving that, that we're able to do it against the big teams this season. Newcastle are a good outfit. They're a strong squad. They're struggling a little bit at the moment, but they're well organised and they have a good manager. They very easily could have gotten something from this game. And so for us to go out there, have a good performance overall, not a perfect performance, but a good performance overall, and come away with the 3 points, it's really important. It's almost like psychologically for the squad, for the manager, for the fan base, because it feels like a real statement of intent. It feels like we've put the league on notice now. We're saying we're not going to go away this season. We're not just going to, have a few good games against teams that we should be beating, and then against teams that maybe it's a bit more contentious, we struggle. We're actually showing that in bigger games this season, we can turn up and we can perform, and that's really important.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Right, losers. I will. I've got to kick off with Robert Sanchez. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
he's on
else
mine.
Oh, this guy, man!
He's on mine.
I mean,
what more does he have to do to be dropped?
Well. I got to bring it back.
Congratulations for being shit. Well done for being shit. Well done for being shit.
I mean, his positioning for the goal was poor. He got dribbled, but this is a stat. This is an actual stat from the game. He got dribbled past more than Gusto, Colwill, Fofana, and Caicedo combined. But
That is so
gosh.
crazy. By the
But
way.
wait, there's more. Robert Sanchez wrapped up the game with just 6 successful long balls out of 25 attempts, a 50% passing success rate with only 20 out of 40 passes completed.
And this is a guy who's supposed to be good with his feet.
Just 1 save and not a single high claim or punch. It was a rough outing, to say the least. And it's another sign where I am here campaigning that Chelsea must sign a top-class goalkeeper in January. We cannot do this anymore. And I've read about the Enzo Maresca post-game that he went, he also did many good things. At the end, it's football. I asked Robert to do that. The moment he stops doing that, he's not going to play. It's not his mistake. It's my mistake playing from the back.
Stop doing it, please.
Bloody hell.
Playing him now.
Look, I believe Maresca. I believe he wants his keeper playing out from the back. That's fine. But he cannot kick a long ball accurately. Look. Here's my example, and then you can go with it. Look at how City and Liverpool dramatically improved when they signed Alisson and Ederson. It's a game changer.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Here's a question that I saw that was interesting. I don't know if you boys have covered it in last episode, but I think Jason Cundy said about Kelleher from Liverpool. Would you take him?
No, because I said he was overrated in the summer, and I'm sticking with that.
I think the second that he gets a proper outing at because he will get a chance at another club to be the first team keeper, because he is too good to be a second choice keeper. But I think then the pendulum will swing the other way. You'll see him make more mistakes as well, because he isn't. He's playing more often. I
can't remember if it was just Chris and I on the episode, but if you go back to the 10th of May this year, the most overrated goalkeepers, I picked Kelleher, because I'm sticking. Just listen to that, listener. Go on, Chris.
Agree. I agree with Ollie. I think it's a bit like the Dean Henderson thing.
Yeah.
When he was at United. Like it's easy to be a number 2 who comes in and plays well for 4 games, knowing full well that I'm going to get dropped again as soon as he's back. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, spotlight's off, pressure's off.
Yeah,
I think the starting goalkeeper.
I think when you are the number 1 at a club, a big club where all eyes are on you, I think it's completely different. So he's another one where he'd be a risk.
I would take him over Sanchez, though.
But I would take him over Robert Sanchez, because Robert Sanchez is probably one of the worst goalkeepers I've ever seen.
Robert Sanchez,
for me,
is the goalkeeping equivalent of a pancake that you drop on the floor. That's what it feels like. Just a total waste in every way.
For me, if I'm Chelsea, player like whoever, I will 100% try and get Mamadashvili in January. I think that
from Liverpool.
Not much of a passer, though.
Whenever. I think he's an unbelievable keeper.
He's at Liverpool.
Well,
no, he's back on loan with Valencia or wherever.
Is he going to get over? Is he going to get over Alisson in the summer? Try and buy him.
No way they'd sell.
On
No
loan,
way.
On loan.
No,
On
they
loan.
wouldn't.
I think
And then where are
on
we at
loan.
if he's really good for us? We've just basically given them their next goalkeeper for a generation.
He's not going to get in over Allison, is he? So on loan,
I can't see it.
mm,
do you know who I think would be good? Is that Bulker from in the French league?
Another former player of ours.
Yeah, well, yeah, he is a former Cobham boy as well.
I wouldn't be shocked if
clearly
it was
he's
Coble
talented.
from Dortmund, because Dortmund are
not
going
bad.
nowhere. They're going nowhere.
What
He's
I
not
don't
bad, but he
understand.
gives me Kepa vibes. He does.
What about you? Go on, Chris.
What I don't understand is what the fuck did Petrovic do in the summer? Because how do you go to training every day with Robert Sanchez and look worse than him? Because that's the only thing that makes sense as to why he's gone.
No,
because
you are forgetting that our goalkeeping coach has worked with him before at Brighton, so there's probably a bit of bias there too.
Also, as well, some of you, not mentioning names, some of you put him like 7th in our Chelsea rankings the other day.
Yeah, who did that?
Go on.
Yeah.
Go on, Chris. Go on. Say what you're going to say. Say it in your chest.
Because the alternative is Jorgensen, who I don't rate either.
I think he's probably better than Sanchez.
Yeah, but neither of them are in the top 10, are they?
No,
I still like him.
I just think with Petrovic, he was very good at the goalkeeping things that you need to be good at.
That's the thing.
Keeping the goal.
And he was no worse with his feet because Robert Sanchez can't pass a football.
No, he can't. I think this is the thing. Maresca does want that, and that's fine. If that's how we're playing, I'm cool with it. But you can't go, he's got to keep trying. Yeah, but he's no good at it.
There are these players who, when they get the ball, you tense up. And Sanchez is one of those players. Like whenever he gets the ball, you think, okay, what's going to happen? You know,
he just seems to have he kept hitting the mini icebergs on repeat. Thankfully, it didn't cost us. It didn't cost us, but we were fortunate. I mean, we were fortunate.
It's what I've said all season. He's going to cost us more. He's going to cost us more points than he'll ever win us. The sooner we can bin him off and get someone else who's better, the better.
Of all the problems I have with Robert Sanchez, though, and most of them are with his feet, I have some sympathy because I think if you're a player who's not very good at that, but your manager's forcing you to do it, your hands are kind of tied. The main problem I have with Robert Sanchez is for someone of his size, he doesn't catch anything.
Yeah.
Like that one that Reece James headed away at the back post. How the fuck has Alexander Isak managed to lob you from there? You're 6'5", mate. Put your arms up. He doesn't even put his arms up.
He's got a huge wingspan as well.
That's beat me, that.
Oh, remember that photo when we signed him and his arms were out? It was like, look, he's tall. He's really tall.
And I ain't being funny. I'm being funny as well. Surely we can all agree on this. We'd rather Kepa and goal than Robert Sanchez.
Oh no!
Honestly, I'm Kepa's biggest hater, and I would prefer Kepa.
I would like to point out you're all wrong. He's actually 6'6".
Wow,
that's
even
Six
worse.
6'6".
Yeah.
Oh,
for someone who is 6'6", he's the smallest keeper I've ever seen in my life.
Honestly, you'd think he'd be better off in the NBA.
Right. We all had Sanchez as a loser. So
I didn't.
Oh, Chris, who's your first loser then?
Wesley Fofana.
I didn't have him because I knew he'd get picked, but he did not have a good game, did he?
I think you could have picked both, though. To be fair.
Yeah, I agree. The only thing that stopped me picking Colwill is I thought he showed more character when he was having a bad game. I think Fofana shrunk into himself and actually started doing less.
Well, they did tweak
goal...
his knee. Is that a consideration?
No,
obviously
because he played on.
And he is the only reason he did that. It's his own fault. If you know what I mean. He's gone in and flying into that challenge.
Exactly. The goal came down his side as well. He's the one who plays Isak on side because why is he doing the splits?
I know.
He's not balanced at all to cut the cross out. Like either stand up or lunge to cut the cross out, but don't just stand there doing the splits, mate. It's not fucking gymnastics.
Yeah.
And then
not
how he got away with that poor header back to the keeper is insane because that any other day that costs us 2 points. Because I don't even know what he's doing. Why are you trying to dive in header that back to your goalkeeper there? Just put it out of play, mate. It's really
To be fair though, I think Caicedo, who And again, another great game. He has to have a lot of credit for that because he ran back and he managed to make a great tackle.
Oh yeah, but I think if Isak's in top form and sharp, he rounds the keeper and hits it.
Also, what's Sanchez doing as well?
Himself.
What the fuck's Sanchez doing as well?
That's when he was
best.
past.
He was best. He
was.
was
I think with Fofana, I think he's having a very up and down time, and I'm still not convinced that long term he's a solution next to Colwill. I think Colwill's got a really high potential, and I don't think Fofana is going to get much better than he is now. And I would much rather take him out and put a more experienced, older, top class defender in.
With Fofana at the moment, the issue is his game relies on being rash and taking those risks, because a lot of his game depends on stepping out quite high to win the ball back. And if he's losing those battles and getting those wrong, he has a really bad game, which is probably why you're saying he's been up and down, because on some of the games where he's just cleaning up everything, he looks class.
Yeah.
And then when he goes up against a player who's doing something a little bit differently, he seems to struggle with it.
I've got a quick second loser. It's our top 4 rivals. Spurs lost, Man United lost, Arsenal and Liverpool drew, Brighton drew, Aston Villa drew, all drop points. Only 2 teams in the top 6 won this weekend, Man City and Chelsea. And no matter what you're laughing, going Brighton and Villa for the top 4, hey, they're the closest teams to us. They all drop points in a game. I was so scared in that final minute with that corner. I thought, are we going to drop 2 points here? We didn't, and that's what matters. That's what matters.
You know what?
I'll tell you what, though, if you're a Brighton fan, though, I would be absolutely fuming. Did you see that second goal that Wolves scored?
Yes.
I screwed it up.
You can't be they can't be angry with anyone but themselves, because how do you turn a 4-on-1 to a last minute equalizer? That's almost as bad as the famous clip in the playoff final between, was it Watford and Leicester?
Yeah,
Dini.
I've never seen it's that in terms of how quickly we went from one side of the pitch to the other, from almost total victory to snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. It's terrible.
Second loser, Ollie. Oh, go on, Chris.
So just on that, because I think Ollie brought up narratives earlier, and I always think the narrative in the Premier League is weird, because you are right. People will look at it and say, well, Brighton aren't in the hunt for the top 4. The same way you would say we're not in the title race. Villa,
we're up there.
Yeah,
not in the Villa. Never considered or talked about being in the title race, and yet Arsenal are, and yet they're only a point ahead of us, and they're level on points with Villa. But Arsenal are title contenders, and Villa and us aren't. And you think, well, I don't know how you're looking at that, because the points would suggest that if Arsenal are in the title race, we're in the title race. Because
most people judge it off the previous season, don't they? Last season we weren't great, so we're not in with a chance. Villa got 4th, but Arsenal came 2nd, and we're only a point away. So I can kind of see why the narrative is the way it is. But we're in a new season now.
Exactly.
Right. Second winner, Ollie. Loser, Ollie.
Second loser for me is Noni Madueke.
Yeah, he's on mine.
Well, wow, go on.
I think he didn't have the worst game of his career, but I also think that in a game where we had Jackson, who played really well, Neto played really well, Palmer, who played incredibly, he really stood out as not really doing enough. He was tried a few times to get some shots away, make some passes. Although I think he did make the cross for Neto's header that hit the post, so I'll give him that. But I feel like if we can get all of our attack firing on all cylinders, if Noni has a good game yesterday, in the same way that Neto and Palmer and Jackson all had a good game yesterday, I think we end up winning that game 4-5-1, something like that. Because there would be no element of our attack that was on the weak side. When it didn't start to work for Noni, we channeled a lot more stuff down the left, and that worked for Neto, but it made us more predictable as well. So we really need to sort out this balance of attack. And at the moment, he's having a really inconsistent time, where, scores a hat-trick against Wolves, against an admittedly very poor Wolves side. And he's not really done a whole lot since. And I think he scored 1 goal since, didn't he? After Maresca called him out, funnily enough. So another instance of that working. But yeah, just wasn't at the races for me.
Do you know
What about you two? Go on.
what it is with Madueke is I think I really like Madueke. And I do think there's a player in there. But actually, when you look at it in sort of the cold light of day, I'm not actually convinced he's having a very good season. So
Okay.
So you think about hat-trick against Wolves, yeah? But he scored, those 3 goals in 10 minutes?
And they're all kind of the same.
When you look at the rest of the game, he didn't actually do anything in that game. He scored those goals, which is fantastic, and ruthlessly efficient, which is great. But that overall game, he wasn't actually brilliant in that game. He just, Cole Palmer laid it on a plate for him 3 times in 10 minutes and he put them away. Fantastic. Like Ollie said, he's only scored 1 goal since then. That was against Nottingham Forest. He hasn't registered a single Premier League assist yet as a winger. That's not great.
Yeah, and Sancho, who's barely played, has got 3.
Let even if you take into account, right, he scored the hat-trick past Wolves, so let's say he had a good game. Let's just take that as read, okay? He scored a hat-trick, so he must have had a good game. Name another really good game he's had.
Wolves. Oh, wait. That's the thing, isn't it?
Outside,
do you know what? I can't think of one.
Outside that Wolves game, he hasn't had another really good game. And I think the issue is that when you look at what Jackson's doing, what Palmer's doing, I think the issue we've got is on either side. I think Madueke isn't doing enough. I think the left-hand, whoever plays on the left isn't being consistent enough. Like Neto was brilliant on Sunday, but will he be brilliant again in the next game? We don't know. Sancho, one game looks really good. Second game, not so good. Mudryk is...
Mudryk.
Yeah, Mudryk. I think the striker is working. The number 10 is working. But our wingers are still very much old style Chelsea of attackers who can look good, but aren't effective. And I think we need to start getting more numbers out of them because eventually you can't keep relying on Palmer and Jackson to pull us out of it all the time.
That is right. Right. I will go my third loser. I told you, lot. I told the group chat in advance, listener,
Don't
that he
do
was going to be
it.
on my.
Don't do it.
No, you can't. No, Mikey, no.
I've got to stick to my guns.
No.
I have chosen.
I
have context here. I have context here. So I'm not going to be too. This is
Right,
There is no context. There's no context.
Just before you reveal to the listeners who you're about to say, do you remember, all the listeners out there, do you remember Mikey's take on N'Golo Kante that he says is his worst take ever?
Oh,
He's about to
agree,
beat
Chris.
it. He's about to beat it.
Okay.
So go on, Mikey.
Okay. Yeah, right. I chose Christopher Nkunku because
Wow.
I wasn't impressed. I wasn't impressed by his cameo. I wasn't. Look, he missed. Look at it. Look, you got to look at it. He missed
so
an
harsh,
open.
man.
He missed. It is harsh. I'm not saying it's not harsh. It's because I was desperate for the third loser, and I thought it's the
Then
only
you should have
player
picked
that I could think
Mudryk
of.
because Mudryk
Yeah,
was a
okay,
fucking
well.
ghost.
And could do way more.
Oh, it just seemed that he missed an open palm. He took an extra touch every time a goal seemed to call his name. There was so many bad decisions, more than I do after a few shots of tequila. I get he wants to impress, and
Have you had shots of tequila today?
No, I just want more. I want more from him, and he just seemed he looks like he's trying so hard to score in the Premier League. I mean, he should have passed it off. He should have.
Do you know what? I
think
Nkunku had an anti-Nkunku performance on Sunday because he usually they bring him on and he'll do nothing for 25 minutes and then score. And he kind of did the opposite of that, where he came on, did a whole bunch of stuff and didn't score. So again, it's that narrative of like, I didn't think he had a terrible game considering that he didn't score a goal, which is usually like his barometer, really, because he's so prolific. But he was always trying to like get himself about. I think he was really unlucky with the breakaway that they called for a foul back on.
I thought that.
Yeah.
You know,
and he got booked for that as well.
Yeah, he got booked for that too. Like, if he gets through that, there's a 2-on-2. Palmer's in a lot of space. It could be very different. So I don't know. It feels a little harsh for me.
Did he actually get booked for that?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh.
Don't be
Mikey
nice to him now,
celebrating.
Mikey. Don't be nice to him now.
I mean,
But then,
look,
to be
if
fair,
it wasn't-
Maresca got booked for sitting down in his chair angrily. So,
you know
what's the
what?
rules?
Okay, all right, okay, all right. I'll go back on this one.
No, you
No,
can't.
no, you
No,
can't.
I'll go with a favourite.
You've made your bed, and now
Who's
you
the
must
real?
lie in
Okay,
it.
all right. Here's one: Enzo Fernandez, because he looks like he ain't getting in the team.
No,
He ain't getting in the team.
Mikey, no. No Enzo today. You said it with your chest.
On that. Seriously though,
rank.
Enzo,
Full
he
rank.
struggled, and Lavia and Caicedo are so much better than him in that midfield, and you just go, yeah, well, Chris,
Mikey, just cut now. You're done. We're not having Enzo's you lose.
on that,
Okay, we're not.
I've remembered.
Shame you couldn't do it.
Chris, did you catch Friday's episode?
No, I didn't get around to it.
Oh, someone
Not a
brought
real
up
fan.
about that.
Not a real fan, Chris.
The admin was pushing out pictures of Enzo Fernandez on the Twitter feed, and I'm like, yeah, he was.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was doing that. Well noticed.
Chris,
Who still has losers left?
I have one left.
I've got one
I have
left.
one left.
go on.
Okay,
Go on,
Chris.
Chris.
Do you want to go?
Mine was Enzo Fernandez.
No, it
No,
wasn't.
it wasn't.
Screw you all. I'm pulling rank. Go on, Chris.
Mine was Lavia.
That's that's harsh as well.
That's
to be
harsh.
honest with you.
Whoa,
He
let's
had a-
pile on
he had a
Chris here.
really-
That's harsh.
Yeah,
No,
really.
Mikey, it's not as harsh as yours,
No.
but it is a bit harsh still.
No, and I'll tell you why. I thought on the ball he was good,
Yeah.
but we're looking for someone to partner Caicedo who does the other stuff that Enzo Fernandez doesn't do. I could have had Enzo Fernandez in there and been okay on the ball and done nothing defensively. And I thought Lavia had a very Enzo performance where he was good on the ball, but he got bullied by that Newcastle midfield. You look at the goal, for example, he loses a physical battle with Tino Livramento in the centre of the park. Not
It's not
Joel
great, is
Linton,
it?
not Bruno, Livramento. Pushes him over, leaves him on the floor for the goal. And I just think he seemed a little bit
He had a poor first half.
unsharp.
Didn't
I,
he? Do you know what? The reason that Fofana tweaked his knee was like that him rushing out to make that tackle, which is his choice, came from Lavia giving the ball away.
I just think, I understand what they've done with Lavia in terms of leaving him out the Conference League squad because he's not fit enough to play 2 games a week, which I think is going to be a whole different issue if we get into the Champions League, by the way, because you can't have players in your squad who can't play 2 games a week if you're playing in the Champions League, but that's a problem for next season. I just think he would have benefited from those extra minutes against weaker opposition in the Conference League to get that match sharpness back. Like, he's being thrown into Premier League games, having not played for so long, which is every game in the Premier League is tough. Whereas he could go and play fucking Noah in the Conference League, and it's a much nicer introduction back into football. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I just think with him, it's a little bit a case of, I think he's going to be like this for a while, where he'll have really good games, but then he'll have games where if the pace of the game's really quick or the midfield he's playing up against are very physical or are having really good games themselves, where he might start to struggle because he hasn't played enough football. And I just think maybe we should have looked at easing him into the Conference League games instead of the Premier League games.
I suppose the remedy for that, though, is more football. So the more he plays, the better that will become.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I do think that partnership is a lot better than Enzo and Caicedo.
Oh, yeah.
Enzo and Lavia might be a better combination. It's just...
Yeah, but you can't
You ain't dropping Caicedo.
No, you can't. But Lavia's still... I mean, Lavia's only
Bloody
like
harsh,
20,
that.
Lavia's about 20, and I still think on the ball... I don't think he was great yesterday. I think on the ball he's very good.
At this rate, next season, our midfield pivot is going to be Caicedo and Andre Santos. At this rate,
could be.
Because he's been class. Scored 2 goals again
He did.
the other
He scored 2. Yeah, he did. Right.
No, I mean,
who's your
just going back
final?
to I'll go on to a bit of a rant in a sec, but going back to Lavia, I still think him and Caicedo, are the ones going forward. I really like Lavia, and I think sky's the limit for him.
Final loser berth. Go on.
Right, referees. I'm sorry, and just
you are right.
VAR in
Bloody harsh
general.
that.
I'm not too asked about the penalty. The penalty is a bit soft, but I'm sorry. What the decision making and the referees are seemingly getting worse, and we say it every week. I saw someone in the Arsenal game yesterday get completely took out by Canate. I didn't even look at it. Like complete, like I mean, then you got the West Ham and Delay and
Van Dijk kicking out.
Yeah, Van Dijk kicking out. What's going on?
It's been a poor weekend for the referees, isn't it?
But
Shocker.
why are we saying this every weekend? We're saying this every weekend. It's not just the odd weekend, and it's not like the refereeing in this country is getting better. It's getting worse. With technology, you'd think, oh, we're going to be at a level where we're making less mistakes. This and that. We're making more mistakes. I don't get it. I don't know how this is possible. And the refs are seemingly invincible, and they don't take accountability for their mistakes, and they're all looking to just back up their best mates. I hate it. I hate how referees come across on TV. It's all about them. I don't like them. Something needs to change.
Yeah, I think my main gripe with referees this season is the yellow card thing. I think so many referees have gone really yellow card happy. Like they want to hand out cards now for everything. Like the amount of yellow cards that you're getting for dissent now, when it's an emotional game. Like players will react when a foul gets given against them. It's just a natural reaction. Unless they're going up and screaming in your face, I don't think you need to book players every time they say something
like
to you.
shouting obscenities and
I've seen players when they just go, "Oh, come on!" It's like that's a booking. It's like that's just stupid.
I can't remember if it was when Lawrence was on the show, when Loz was on the show, but I remember us talking about would it be better to go up to 3 yellow cards makes a red? Because it seems to come out so easily now that like it almost like that it needs to be like corrected.
Maybe. Right, who's got
Maybe
a loser
one
left?
Croatian player was ahead of his time. Do you remember him?
Dario was it Cerna?
Dario
Was it
Cerna? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is he Croatian? I don't know. If he's not, I'm sorry. But I've got one loser left. Does anyone else have one?
No,
I've got none left.
No.
Mikhailo Mudryk.
Oh, it was Josip Simonic in the 2006 World Cup.
That sounds Croatian.
Yeah. It is Croatia.
Right. Yeah, I was right. For me, my final loser was Mikhailo Mudryk.
Came dressed up as a ghost, didn't he?
Harsh.
I mean, like he must have been a member of a very well-known hacking organization because he was fucking anonymous. He was absolute he really didn't do anything at all. Played what was it? Says here he played 23 minutes. Felt like it was more like half an hour. Touched the ball 12 times.
And missed a good
chance.
To
be fair though, wow. and this says a lot about Mudryk. It's not the worst I've seen him play.
No, you're right. He just again like with the way our attackers played in that game, you know, Noni aside, all our attackers were pretty good. I mean, maybe Mikey doesn't want to think that about Nkunku, but I thought
bit harsh. Look, I back down. I'm going to
them.
No, Mikey. Nkunku's definitely a loser.
There's no backing down.
In a game where all other attackers seem to do pretty well, he did nothing at all. So you know, it really stands out. You know,
here's an interesting thing as well about Mudryk. So, if you go back and the listeners can do this as well. If you go back and watch the chance that he had, that Pope made the save, he's a right-footed player, Mikhailo Mudryk, and instead of when the ball is rolled back to him, which is a perfectly weighted pass on a lovely angle, and there is space to his right-hand side, he could receive it on his right foot, open it up, and curl it into the corner, which would be a standard finish for any footballer, really. Instead, he takes it back onto his weaker foot, and then it's a much more difficult finish, and he ends up hitting it at the keeper. This is my problem with Mudryk. Those are basics that a footballer at this level should not be getting wrong. He should know that space is on his right-hand side, which allows him to receive it on his stronger foot to then finish it on his stronger foot, rather than taking it back onto his weaker foot, just assuming that there'll be a defender on that side of him. It's really poor technical skills from Mudryk, and it shows that his football development is so low.
Yeah, it really is. Interesting when you said that, when you sort of described that about Mudryk's shot, because I completely agree with you. it made me think of a set of highlights that I watched yesterday of the Villa game, because I think it was John McGinn who scored the goal, and he did the complete opposite of that. Like he received the ball, took a touch out onto his stronger side, and then curled it in like well into the corner. And that is the difference. Obviously, now McGinn's been in the game for much longer than Mudryk has, but that is the difference in terms of like where your brain will make it the difference, because physically McGinn probably is about on par with Mudryk physically. Maybe Mudryk's even a little bit better. He's quicker for sure, probably has a nice passing range, but McGinn's got more of a football brain. And for Mudryk, that is his biggest obstacle, is his brain at the moment.
Well, if you
and Maresca seems to be taking every opportunity to tell that to everybody.
If you notice on that as well, when he takes the shot and Pope saves it, Palmer's reaction suggests Palmer throws his arms up and then points, as much to say, why didn't you take it that way?
Yeah.
Everyone else can see it.
Freak, to be fair, who just calculated it in impossibly small amount of time.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who would have scored that. Christopher Nkunku.
Yeah, he would have. 100% would have.
Right.
Even Enzo Fernandez might have finished it.
Emoji game review. I've got ice cold because it was Palmer's day. It was Palmer's day.
Yeah, I went with the Ice Cube emoji just because he's the best player in the world at the moment. The emoji for everything every week should be that at the moment for him.
Yeah. Is everyone? Go on, Beth.
I've got the hand like sort of in front of the face emoji because that's how I felt when Palmer made that pass, because it was ridiculous.
Chris,
I'll go with the starry-eyed emoji, because I think we've got some stars developing in this team now.
I fully agree. So I've got look, an Oscar
reaction. What do you think?
Christopher Nkunku is a loser. Look, you're all winners. You're all winners for making me climb down and be humbled. So Lion of the week, and you know what? We all won. The wheel and myself picked Jackson. He was good, but Ollie, you cleaned out. You got Palmer. I can't give it anybody else.
I think that's the first time I've actually won.
No, you got the one against Servette and Nottingham Forest when you went with, who did you go with?
Big game player, that's me.
Is Palmer on more than one now? Oh, who cares? Well, we play Newcastle in the League Cup, so big game. We're Newcastle again in the Energy Drink Cup. So I'm going to pick Nkunku because I'm sticking with my narrative to try and bail myself out. What are we all going with?
Shameless. Absolutely shameless.
I'm going to go for... I'll go for Felix. All right.
Do you reckon this is going to be like a B team game? Do you think it'll be a very...
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. The wheel went with Robert Sanchez.
Oh, dear.
No, spin again. Go on.
You lucked out, listeners. You lucked out big time.
I'm going to go with Badia Shield.
That's an interesting
one.
Nice. I am about to regret this choice. I'm going to pick Keane and Dewsbury Hall.
Wow. I picked him the other week, Ollie. So
yeah, he let Berth down then. He'll let you down this week.
Yeah, he did.
Well, but if it works, it looks like a masterstroke.
It does.
I'll be honest, Ollie, and this might be a spoiler. It won't.
It won't.
The wheel's taking the piss here because it picked Petrovic, ain't picked Bettinelli. Come on.
You pick Sanchez. Leave it with Sanchez. It's the wheel's fault.
Enzo Fernandez.
There
you go, listener.
Why is Petrovic still on the wheel?
That is a good question. He needs removing.
Why Bettinelli on the wheel?
That's fair.
He's part of the squad. He's part of the bloody squad.
Yeah, but he don't play.
Yeah.
No. Right. Hang. Well, we're nearly there, listener. We're nearly.
This has been chaotic today. This has been so chaotic.
It has. It really has. Oh, Christmas questions and a lot of them. Can you guess the topic? Basically, Robert Sanchez. Because Rubicon said, "How can Sanchez be fixed? Can he get?" That's a bit harsh. Can he get better at making in-game decisions?
No.
Can he be fixed? No. Can he get better? No.
Can he get better? I mean, he might make a world-class save in the next game.
Thing is, he probably will, and then everyone will be like,
Yeah.
"It's not that bad," and then he'll make another mistake. It's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah,
He's
you
shit.
got to understand the long game with Robert Sanchez. I've said it once. I've said it a million times. He will cost you more points than he wins you. That is a guarantee.
But if he is listening, then I would like an autograph, please.
NJ Brandt said, "Sound that horn. Is it time to swap Sanchez to the B squad?"
It was time about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was time last year. Last year should have been a big enough clue.
But
go on.
to be fair, think about it, right? So imagine Man United away next week. I think it's away. Lineup comes out. Jorgensen's in goal. Do you feel more or less confident?
About
More.
the same.
I'll probably feel more, to be honest.
I would feel the same. I will be honest there. I'll be the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel any more confident either. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Because you think of it as that from
enough from Jorgensen yet, though. To
you
prove
put
it.
Petrovic in, I'd be more confident.
But look at it from a manager's point of view. If you've got a shit keeper, but then you've got another keeper who you don't think is any better, why would you swap out one for the other?
Here's a question, though. Would you think the back line would be less fucking skittish with Jorgensen in goal?
Maybe, yes. Maybe.
That could make a difference.
I don't know. They haven't been in the Conference League.
Justin, surely after today's kicking performance, Sanchez has to be benched. Keep up the good work, though. Yeah. He means us, not him. Keep up the good work, us, not them. Vix put, when will Sanchez be dropped? It felt like he didn't complete a single pass today. Well, if you were listening, he completed 20 out of 40 passes. So he did complete one.
I think we sign a keeper in January. I think Sanchez will play until January, but I think
it's going to be hard
a keeper in January
because it's got to be a top player, and you're going to pay more.
No, it won't be a top keeper. So everyone can forget about that now. We're not signing a top keeper.
But then there's no point.
What's the point? We've got 8 goalkeepers on the books.
We've got like 7 other goalkeepers.
We'll sign a goalkeeper who's got good potential, but is better with his feet. Guaranteed.
I can't be doing this
with
again.
Penders already. Either just start playing Penders, just say fuck it, and start playing this kid stupid young, and hope he eventually becomes good enough. Or get someone who's actually good.
I mean, this is our goalkeepers on our books. We've got Sanchez, Jorgensen, we've got Petrovic, Kepa, Bettinelli, Bergstrom, Beach, and of course we've just signed, like you said, Mike Penders. We can't be doing another. With no point. There is no point going for potential. Penders is potential.
Listen, it sounds harsh to say this. Not a single goalkeeper on that list is Premier League standard.
Not
a single one.
No, some of them probably are, but not great. They're not top tier.
They're not a top 20 team. They're not a top 20 Premier League
team.
The
only one I'll give you is Kepa because he is actively playing for Bournemouth at the moment. But other than that, it's just horrible, man. Goalkeeping situation is horrendous.
We will wrap up the show with an end of show game. Guess the player by their career path. So I'll describe a player's career path. They've got to figure it out. And if you buzz in, and you guessed it wrong, you're frozen out until everyone else has to go. 3 players as always. And the first player started his career at Internazionale before moving to AC Milan. He then took a trip to Corinthians before going on loan to Sao Paulo. He then went on loan to Chelsea.
I know it.
Go on, Chris.
It's your favourite player, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
I was just about to say that.
And I'm really glad you didn't go. He went to Villarreal, then he went to a Chinese team that I think is Tianjin. I can't pronounce the second word. Sao Paulo, Orlando, and then Sao Paulo again. Chris takes an early 1-0 lead. So,
Mikey, he was shit. He was shit.
Yeah,
he played 2 games and scored a goal. 1 in 2. Better than some of our strikers.
He didn't even know he had signed for us on loan. He thought it was permanent.
Fuck it up.
Second player started his career at Ipswich Town before moving to Charlton Athletic. He then moved to Tottenham Hotspur.
I think I've got it.
Oh, Berth's buzzing. Is he buzzing in? Really? Are you buzzing in?
Yeah, I think. Is it Darren Bent?
It's Darren Bent because then he went to Sunderland, Villa, on loan.
Berth.
Did you know he then went to Brighton on loan, Derby County on loan, Derby County, then finally finished his career at Burton Albion on loan?
Wow.
Sun's boy.
Right.
Fair play.
Final player. Started his career at Tooting and Mitcham United before going to Reading.
I think I might know it.
Oh, come on, Chris.
I'm gonna take a risk because Berth will be in there in a second anyway.
Go on, Chris.
Mikel Antonio.
Oh, he's done it in 2.
Nice.
I'll finish his
Nice.
career. He went again on loan to Tooting and Mitcham United. Then he went to Cheltenham on loan, Southampton on loan, Colchester on loan, Sheffield Wednesday on loan, before moving permanently to Sheffield Wednesday. Then went into Forest and then became our arch nemesis at West Ham. But he didn't do it this year, did he?
He's the only striker who's allowed to score for West Ham.
I can't name
It's
any
so
other
true.
striker that it's like. No, he was crap. He was crap.
Name a good striker for West Ham in the past decade. He's the only one.
Colton Cole. He's the only player I can think.
Yeah.
Marlon Harewood, Bobby Zamora.
Again, I don't think any of those names are any better than Antonio, to be
No,
honest
they're
with you.
Isn't
Well-
he their all-time leading Premier League scorer?
Yeah, I think he is, yeah.
Over
He's
Di
a top
Canio.
player. He's class. He's only gotten better the older he's got as well.
I wouldn't
yeah,
say he's
you're-
class. He's one of them that he's just a handful.
He'll be an remember him one day.
Oh, remember his-
Barclays man he is, Antonio.
That is-
Yeah.
Antonio's a Barclays man.
Right. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you stuck it out that long, this might be our longest episode ever. Might be. Treat yourself well. We'll be back maybe on Friday for a Friday show, or maybe Thursday for the Friday show on a Thursday. We'll see how we feel. So enjoy the League Cup game, and till then, that is going to be us signing off. You've been listening to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At the Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.